social impact. Okay? A more complicated outline for how to develop the inputs into vision. If you are satisfied, if you are comfortable with inputs and vision, we elaborate this into different steps. Okay? Remember the last slide, input to vision. I think all of you understand that, input to vision. But how to get from inputs to vision? There's a long process. Okay? It's a process of activities, it's a process of outputs, it's a process of outcomes, goals, then to visions. Okay? What do we mean by activities? Inputs, I think everyone understands. Okay? Money, people, technology, anything. Okay? Activity means the process, the activities that you will create for the customer, or the production process, or the service rendering, whatever. Okay, it should be very unlimited. But through inputs, because you have inputs, then you can create the activities. Okay, and then you have outputs. What do we mean by outputs? Number of customers, maybe. Number of people you help. For example, if you are a healthcare social enterprise, you want to target for children health. Okay, so you have a very focused target group of children, and then you will provide them with a free healthcare checking diagnosis, or you may provide them with accommodations to help them to recover. Okay, it's like McDonald's, family trust. You have this activity, you have that input. Okay? So the output is how many number of children you can help every month, every year. Output is a kind of measurable outputs that you can tell people. I achieved this output. I achieved number of successful cases. I achieved how many number of improvement on that. Okay. Outputs are always quantifiable. But how do we transform into outcomes? Because your company, your social enterprise, have this output. So now, this is the critical part. Not many students understand. Why do we have outputs and then we have outcomes? Outcomes and outputs are very different. Very different. Outputs, as I have previously mentioned, is a kind of quantified result. Quantified result about how many number of people you have helped or customers, or number of shops you open. But for outcomes, is a more intangible things like the health care of children in Hong Kong was improved, was dramatically improved, whatever. But how can you measure the health care improvement? Okay, it's not easy. Or how, for example, if you target on crime rate, you can count a number of people. Okay? But when you're describing the outcomes of we improve the overall ethical behavior of people, that they will queue up when queuing up for the transportation. Okay, you describe an outcome with a qualitative statement that this is an improvement, but this improvement is in generally for the whole community. You may have outcomes for the whole world because you develop a very environmental product like a water bottle. That water bottle can filter the water for a lot of underdeveloped countries. Okay, and then you sell it, and then you may have outputs of number of filter bottle that you sold. It's a very rigid number. But how can you quantify the outcomes? Is because of the bottle I manufacture for filtering water, I improve the life, improve the living condition, improve the health of those rural citizens because they drink the better water. So you have an outcomes like this are described, okay? Not a quantified numbers. But don't underestimate the outcomes, because if you cannot describe your outcomes, you can tell people, you cannot tell people how you can help the society, okay? You need to relate the outputs into the outcomes. Then people will understand what you are talking about, your business, and how you can help people. So outcomes, sometimes, we talk about outcomes, we mean impact. We call it the social impact too. Okay? We call it social impact because if you achieve the outcomes, you achieve the impact. But it's very tricky because some of the outcomes may not be only derived from your social business. Because some outcomes may be because a lot of improvement through the government policy or other companies' effort or other commercial elements that add together. So some principle, they said, if you have these outcomes, you need to deduct something that the outcomes that may be happen anyway. Maybe happen anyway means even if your social enterprise don't exist, the government policy may also have to do that. So you don't double count your outcomes. And after you ignore those additional outcomes, then you have a net outcome. That outcome is your unique social impact. Okay? Some theory argue on that. But for our competition, I don't care. Okay? And only on the condition that at least you need to describe your outcomes. I don't need you to describe your social impact with very detail on how to balance or have a net off of the outcomes that already happened or should be happen anyway. Okay. Some outcomes may not only derive from your social enterprise, okay? But because we don't measure, we don't want to measure or to insist a very quantifiable measurement tools for measure on your social impact, because it is too difficult to do that, and also it's too subjective. So what you need to do, at least you describe the outcome. That would be perfect. That would be, people can understand what you are talking about. In order to give you a better understanding, I call this one, okay? This is another competition called Global Social Venture Competition. This is a very big competition in the world about social enterprise. If you are, I think the deadline just closed last week for the acceptance. In Hong Kong, you are also eligible to participate in this one through the China region. Okay, we have the China region now. Last year we don't, but this year we have a China region that some university in China they host this competition. One of the criteria is you need to have a graduate student in these competition teams. Okay? You may have 3 to 4 team members, but you need to have at least one graduate student to maybe MBA student to participate. There's quite a strict rules on that. Okay, not as flexible as us in Hong Kong Social Enterprise Challenge. But I want to give you because we are doing the similar theory, so even a international business plan competition, they also adopt a similar, they call it impact value chain. Okay, it's similar to the one that I created in the slides, because we studied similar things together. But inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and go on. So input description was put into the ventures, activities, ventures, primary activities. Output is the result that can be measured. Okay, and then you frame this as the leading indicators. Leading indicators means the kind of quantifiable indicators that you can measure. Yeah. So with this indicator, you can compare time by time, company by company, and then you have outcomes. Outcomes is from output to outcome means the changes to the social system. Okay. You can make a remark on that. It's the changes to social system that you bring changes. Okay. So not just the result that can be measured, but the changes bring into the system. And then you net off what would have happened anyway. Then you draw up into the impact. Okay, the same. After that, you deduct what should happen anyway. Then you have an impact. And then you align the goal with your outcomes and see why your business can develop their outcomes. And that mission is the same as what you expect. Okay? So this is the whole, we call it the impact value chain or theory of change. This is very important. Okay? The basic concept of social impact. And I will give you the link to download this one, okay, so you can have a look at it. But in our competition, we don't require too much on social impact assessment yet. Okay, so we still behind this judging criteria because it's not easy for the judges also to pick up the theory. We need to educate them first, and then we will educate the students to learn more. Maybe next year we will do that on a more in-depth analysis on that. But you can take a look and see how others competition we do on that. But if you can include impact and outcomes, then your business plan will be very, very related to social enterprise, not just a very preliminary ideas on things. Yes. Okay, another documents I will give you after today, probably on Monday, I will give you the link of how to download a guide to social return on investment. Actually, it's a document by the Cabinet Office of the First Sector from the Scottish government, and they developed quite a good, very good documents that they tried accounting for value and to develop a very 108 pages of guidelines. Actually, they have 6 stages to how to develop a social return on investment quantity. They do a SROI analysis of it. And at the back, just show you something. It's too much to you today. But if you have time, actually it's a kind of checklist. It can help because when you go over a checklist of questions, how have you provided background information on the organization? Have you explained? Have you decided which one and which? After you have a checklist on everything, you will have a better understanding of your outcomes. And there's examples behind. In the last examples here, like social return impact map of a worker examples. Organizational means wheels to meals is an organization, the objective, and the scope stage. Activity, stage 1, stage 2, inputs, outputs, outcomes, and you have a lot of questioning and value and quantify the numbers here. So I will not go into details here, but take a look. I'll give you the download link. So if you really want to make a better plan, spend time on this. Okay, 100 pages. But actually, don't copy things from that to your summary. It's no use because your summary only confined to 5 pages. Okay, actually. But after you read 100 pages, you may get more insight and develop something better. But I think it's not necessary to read many details. If you learn about the way of quick reading, fast reading, understand the basic concept first, and then you can make